than 50 degrees Fahrenheit. In Georgia, we only see like snow once a year, maybe twice. So I'm not the expert on the originality of every snowflake. Likewise, I can't really testify about the best snow boots or even the warmest long underwear. I can't tell you how to drive in snow and ice, and I don't personally know anyone who owns chains for their tires, though I hear that is common in other areas. To be honest, I wouldn't even know what to do if my tires had chains. It's just not that cold down here. Maybe you aren't from the South. Maybe you don't know what happens when it snows here. If we get enough to cover the grass, the news reporters are out measuring it live on camera. The world stops at the mere idea of a snowstorm. Seriously. One February night during my sophomore year at the University of Georgia, the weather alerts began to come across the television. Snow was coming in a big, bad, nasty white way. Classes had never been canceled for winter weather, at least not as long as I'd been in college, so we were glued to the television. Counties all around us were canceling school. Fingers crossed, my roommate Candace and I decided to embrace the idea that we would not have school the next day. That consisted of such behavior as ceasing all study-related activities and screaming, "Please, no school," off our balcony. I know, classy. Sure enough, within the hour, the university canceled all classes due to inclement weather. The next morning, sunshine and in the mid-60s. I'm not kidding. It was like the storm made a complete fool of our university decision makers. The students loved it. The administration did not. In fact, if I remember correctly, we went to the park and threw the Frisbee around on our snow day. Welcome to Georgia. So snowflakes aren't the most common occurrence in my life. Instead, I think a better comparison of our uniqueness is blades of grass. Grass is a common denominator around the world, except, of course, in the desert. I've never seen two blades of grass that look exactly alike, and I've seen a lot of yards. I actually got out of my chair and walked out the back door of my house to do a little research. In my findings, based on only a small backyard and using no scientific equipment, all blades of grass seem to have a common form, straight and growing upward. But they come in different heights, widths, and shades of green. I cannot find two that seem to be exact matches. Maybe a blade of grass in my backyard and a blade of grass in the lawn of the Eiffel Tower are perfect twins, but we can never really know that, so we'll assume not. Humans are the same way. We may come in different heights, widths, and shades, not green, of course, but we all have a common form. Aside from rare exceptions, we have 2 arms, 2 legs, 2 eyes, and 1 mouth, though mine could really count as 2 or 3. Y'all know I'm loud. A backbone, skin, organs, and so on. You get my point. God made us this way on purpose. It's no mistake that we are formed the way we are, but why? Why did God make humans in the first place? Listen to Isaiah 43:7. Everyone who is called by my name, whom I created for my glory, whom I formed and made. God created us for his glory. Get ready for a little Old Testament lesson. The word create in the original Hebrew is bara. B-A-R-A. And when this particular word is used, God is the only subject. He does all the work. Only he can create in this particular way. We may be able to create a painting or create chaos, but as humans, we cannot bara. So when God made you, he did something that only he can do, and he has done that for his glory. The word glory here is translated as kabad in Hebrew. K-A-B-A-D. This means to bring honor or reputation, to promote something. This short Hebrew 101 lesson does have a point, and no, there will not be like an ancient language quiz later, unless you write one for yourself, I guess. We look at the original language of the text to see, according to Scripture, that we were created, made especially by God, to promote him, glorify him, and worship him. The question, how do you do that? The easy answer, you worship and glorify God by singing at church, by going to youth group and Sunday school or some other Christian group that meets at your school, by telling him how great he is. You glorify him by not sinning, and that answer is correct. But here's the better question. How do you glorify God today, right here in the middle of your not so easy to handle life, in the everydayness you have to live? On Wednesday morning at school, on Saturday night at your friend's house, on Tuesday morning at the breakfast table with your family. No matter what you eat, wear, see, and touch, no matter where you go or whom you go with, or what you do when you're there, when you aren't at church or with your parents or with your parole officer. In all these situations, how do you glorify and honor God with your whole body? Those are the tough questions. And tough questions aren't satisfied by easy answers, because glorifying and honoring God aren't just things we do with our mouths. We do them with our